Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, please subscribe. I'd really love that. If you're returning, how you doing? What we're going to be talking about today is something that has piqued my interest, and I think it'll pique your interest as well. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. He proposed using federal housing vouchers to combat homelessness, saying that it's more important than funding wars, and I agree with him, okay? He published a video on Monday in front of a homeless encampment south of Market Street in San Francisco. And I have the video. I'm going to share it with you. You know, I have talked about homelessness in this country many, many times. And you all know that I used to help the homeless community here in the Tampa Bay area. And I have seen the worst of the worst. I have dealt with it. I have helped. I have tried to pick up the homeless community up and get them back on their feet. And it's one of the hardest things that I think I've ever had to do. And a lot of them want to be there. A lot of them don't have a choice but to be there. And I think that what he is willing to do is phenomenal. He said, this is the Mission District south of Market Street, and this is one of hundreds of street corners in San Francisco that has been occupied now by the homeless, by plastic shanties, by tents, and by people who are sleeping in the open air. And he said that in front of a tent. Part of the problem is mental illness or addictions, but it's not the entire problem. In fact, we can solve the homeless problem in this country. If you look at West Virginia, it has one of the highest addiction rates in the country, but homelessness, it's a minor problem there. So here is the video, okay? And I think you will also agree with what he has to say.
This is the Mission District south of Market. This is one of hundreds of street corners in San Francisco that has been occupied now by the homeless, by plastic shanties, by tents, and by people who are sleeping in the open air. Part of the problem is mental illness and drug addiction, but it's not the entire problem. In fact, we can solve the homeless problem in this country. If you look at West Virginia, it has one of the highest addiction rates in the country. But homelessness is a minor problem there. Homelessness has its own etiology. And part of that is that only 1 in 4 poor people in this country are receiving housing vouchers. We could solve the problem of homelessness on the federal level by providing homeless vouchers, Section 8 vouchers to poor people, and we ought to be doing that. It's more important than funding wars. It's more important than funding overseas adventures. We need to take care of Americans. 35% of Americans today are on the precipice of ending up in a corner like this. 35% of Americans do not make enough money to pay for their basic human needs, for transportation, for housing, and for food. And they are on a cliff where any of them could end up here. And we need to rebuild our nation from the ground up, and that's what I'm going to do as president.
He also said that homelessness has its own ideology. Part of it is that there is only 1 in 4 people in this country who are receiving housing vouchers. And I'm sure you've heard of Section 8 or HUD housing, okay? I know here in the Tampa Bay area, in order to get receive like a housing voucher through HUD or Section 8, it's literally a 10-year wait. And that in itself is an atrocity. It really truly is. There are so many families here that need help right away, and they cannot wait. And I think with someone like him, with his help, I think that there would not be such a long wait, you know. So he claimed that The U.S. could solve this problem of homelessness on a federal level by providing homeless vouchers, Section 8 vouchers to homeless people. And we ought to be doing that. We ought to be doing it right now. It shouldn't have to take someone to become president to do this. I think this should be an automatic thing. Don't you agree? I think that we should be housing our veterans, our homeless children right away. This should be priority in every step of the way. It's more important than anything else. And I just don't understand why it's not the most important thing. We need to take care of us first. We need to take care of Americans, especially our veterans and especially our children. 35% of Americans today are on the precipice of ending up on a corner. Sometimes, a lot of times, we're just one paycheck away from being homeless. And I hope that does not sit well with you, because I know it does not sit well with me, because it can happen to any of us at any time. A lot of people just don't make enough money to pay for basic human needs: food, housing, bus fare to get to work. We need to rebuild our nation. We need to take care of each other. Now, his proposal comes as San Francisco reels from the homeless problem that has seen the city's streets littered with some of the most horrendous things ever. And San Francisco residents in the Mission District are fed up. They are fed up with the homeless encampments. They've raised over $25,000 to install sidewalk planters to block homeless people from setting up their tents there. How sad. How sad that the local governments refuse to do anything. Locals have told a local paper there, San Francisco Chronicle, that Harrison Street has been taken over. That's their words, taken over by encampments for the past 3 years, and was in terrible shape. Neighbors described being threatened with violence as they passed by these encampments. They revealed that they were forced to take action because they didn't have help from the city. Why? Why were they not receiving help? They said, we're a growing group of 50 plus neighbors who want to make our street more beautiful, but the city won't do it for us, so we are taking the lead and doing it ourselves. They said the 1,400-pound planters were suggested by District Supervisor Hillary Ronan and her office because they were too heavy to move, and they complement the streetscape. So the residents have to pay for these 1,400-pound planters. No. No, that should be paid for by the city of San Francisco, and they should be placed there by the city of San Francisco. My word. Well, I applaud Mr. Kennedy. I really do. And I hope that if he were to get into the White House, that this is the first thing that he does. Okay. All right, guys, I'm out of here. I will see you in the next one, all right? You stay safe, you stay positive, you keep prepping. And as always, fearless. Ciao.